So Utah isn't really a big play team. They're like a heavyweight fighter. Yeah, it kind of goes into what I was saying earlier. Like well, at least in the passing game, neither team has a real home run threat. Like they can be efficient enough, but they're really they rely their home run threats are really in the run game. Whether I guess in Utah it can either be their quarterback or the running backs. In Penn State's case, it's definitely the running back, Singleton and Allen. So yeah, it probably will. It probably will look like a heavyweight fight, just given how you know the teams are kind of similar in strengths and weaknesses. So that's what I was saying before. It's gonna not gonna be as high scoring as the last Rose Bowl Penn State played in, but there should be some points put on the board, and it won't be some like 9-6 kind of defensive slugfest, or a game that Sicko's committee is going to be tweeting about. Yeah, great account, by the way.
One of the best. Yeah, I agree. I don't expect it to be high scoring. I also don't expect it to be, like you said, like 9-6 or something like that. For anyone else out there who watched the 3A state championship game today in Pennsylvania between Bell Vernon and Newman Goretti that finished 9-8 with teams fumbling the ball inside the 1 yard line, and I don't think we're going to get anything like that, but it's not going to be 52-49 either. I don't think, or if it does, I mean, at that point, I think both defense coordinators are probably just going to throw their game plans out the window and just get aggressive. And you know what? Go after the quarterback and try and force a turnover. But no, yeah, it should be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you're always going to look forward to the Rose Bowl. I look forward to the Rose Bowl every year. I don't care who's playing in it. It's always one of my favorite bowl games, one of my favorite things on the sports calendar every year. But when Penn State's in it, it just adds a little extra to it. And like I said, especially that last true traditional Rose Bowl, man, it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, I can't. Let's see. We got. Let's say it's the 10th of December as we're doing this. So we got 23 days. So 23 days, folks. It'll be here before you know it. Let's see. We haven't really touched on recruiting yet. I know we touched on transfer portal, but before we go to recruiting news, Marty, I know I saw could be some impending commits. I saw Mason Robinson, Northwestern commit, who's likely to flip to the Nittany Lions, and also Kavion Keys, linebacker from Richmond, Virginia, who is UNC commit, recently decommitted, and the crystal balls are pointing the Nittany Lions direction on this one. Also looks like there could be a Florida person or two that may flip come signing day. I saw Conrad Hussey made a Florida State visit, and it sounds like that went well. So keep an eye on that one. Obviously, though, you are the recruiting person at Black Sheep Diaries, so I'm sure there are others you can fill in the blanks on.
Yeah, this is a huge recruiting weekend this weekend for Penn State. We already mentioned Dante Cephas being on campus out of the portal, like you said, but from your traditional high school recruiting, you have Mason Robinson, who you mentioned, who from McDonough School in Maryland. For those who don't know, the McDonough School is very much a Penn State pipeline. PJ Mustapher, Curtis Jacobs, Devon Elise, denied Dennis Sutton. I think there might be one or two others I'm forgetting. I don't know the last time Penn State pushed for a kid from McDonough and didn't get them. People were surprised being committed to Northwestern over the summer. I expect him to flip to Penn State, if not on the visit this weekend, shortly thereafter. His senior film, man, it's impressive. He's not a four-star kid right now. That is going to change when evaluators watch his senior film. Joseph Mpoyi, another defensive end originally from Africa, now attending St. Thomas More School in Connecticut, same school as current cornerback commit Zion Tracy. Mpoyi is another guy I think Penn State probably wraps up this weekend. And, you mentioned Conrad Hussey visiting Florida State. It does appear that, King Mack, his teammate at St. Thomas Aquinas, fellow defensive back, he seems like Mack's pretty solid to Penn State. Same with Dakari Nelson, the safety out of Alabama, who there were some questions about earlier in the fall. Now Hussey, they're gonna be in a battle with Florida State from now to signing day. We'll see what happens. But if you're Penn State, to land as many commitments as they have this cycle from kids down south, especially with Florida State starting to get their act together again and not be a hot mess. If you can get the signing day and you sign all of them, that is incredible. Or even if you lose only one of them, that's still a pretty good recruiting job. As people who follow recruiting know, it doesn't matter where they're coming from, but when recruits are committed to schools that are as far away as Penn State is from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the closer you get to signing day, sometimes a quarter of those feet get about signing with that school and being that far away, especially for kids who have spent their entire life living there. It's not like this is, say, Katron Allen, for example, last year, who came to Penn State from IMG Academy, but kid was originally from Virginia. Obviously, being at IMG, he was already used to being away from home, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's really, really good recruiting haul here for Penn State. Seems like they're going to finish strong. And of course, Kavion Keys, who you mentioned, he's been telling Penn State all the right things for a very long time and just never decommitted from North Carolina. He's on an official visit to Virginia Tech this weekend, but now that Keys has finally decommitted from North Carolina, I expect him to wind up in Penn State's class also. So huge, assuming that happens, huge tip of the cap to Manny Diaz, who his first full cycle as defense coordinator, looks like he's going to land his top 3 linebacker targets in Tony Rojas, Tamir Robinson, and Kavion Keys. And that's one hell of a linebacker haul for Penn State. So, yeah, really strong close here for the Nittany Lions on the recruiting charts. And even if they lose Conrad Hussey, it's still going to look it's going to be a strong close because you look like you're still going to add Mpoyi and Keys and Flip Robinson. I think they'll continue to look for another offensive lineman after early sign day. You remember last year, Vega Ione wasn't even on their radar until January. And the kid looks like he's going to be an absolute stud for Penn State. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, really strong class. And, this is the best it's going to, assuming everything goes according to plan here these next few weeks, it's going to be the best back-to-back classes that James Franklin has signed. And, hey, you start stacking that talent on top of each other, that's how you really start to turn into a team that can contend for the Big Ten and beyond.
Precisely. On that note, yes, Willie, happy holidays to all. Yeah, that's a good place to end it here. Hope everyone, guys, enjoy your holiday season, however you celebrate. The first bowl games start next Friday with the all-important Bahamas Bowl, which sadly is no longer sponsored by Popeyes. But it's an interesting way to start the bowl season now. I don't know if you're involved in any bowl pick'em pools, Marty. I'm involved in a couple, so I'm gonna have to start actually sitting down maybe this weekend and start, figuring out my picks. Maybe wait till later next week and get some guidance, and because I never really fare well in these bowl pick'ems.
I mean, I think they're difficult to do to begin with, but especially in the era of opt-outs and all of that, that makes it even more challenging.
You make a pick, and then you find out, like, 2 days before the game, that team you picked, based on assuming so-and-so is going to play, decides to opt out. It just
yes,
but things.
One thing I'm very excited for this year. A buddy of mine and I were going through and kind of putting together our little like sickos bowl games, big board, and if you don't get excited for New Mexico State and Bowling Green and the Quick Lane Bowl, or you don't get excited for UConn and Marshall and the Myrtle Beach Bowl, are you even really a college football fan? I don't think you are. So I get excited about that stuff as much as anything in bowl season. See these teams you don't see a lot of, you don't know much about. And for some of these kids, this is going to be, if you're a senior at New Mexico State, you're probably not going to the NFL, but this is a heck of a way to cap off your career in a game like that. So good on them. I love bowl season. I don't want to hear people say there's too many. Put every team in a bowl game for all I care. I don't care. The more college football, the better. Bowls are so much fun. Coaches are emptying out the playbooks. You got kids doing stuff they would never get to do otherwise on the field. The players get rewarded. It's a little vacation for them. They're so much fun. They're great. It's one of the things that I hate with the playoff is kind of killing some of these bowl games, but man, bowl games are the best. I love. As a teacher, there's few things I love more about Christmas break than just being plopped on my couch, knowing I don't have to work all week and I can just lay here and watch bowl games all day and mix in some college hoops. It's tough to beat.
Yeah, I kind of associate with all these random bowl games with the holidays, just
Yep.
like middle of the afternoon, either right before or after Christmas, and you're just, it's some, I don't know, it's the Monarchy Car Care Bowl between a couple teams, like you normally wouldn't care about, but maybe if you're having a bowl pick 'em pool or whatever, like
Yep.
that kind of gets you to care about these.